Hey, everybody. Good to be with you. It's Brian Walsh here from Real Success, and I've got the amazing Troy Harris with us. And we're going to chat a bit, Troy, about what you do, because I'm actually fascinated. I know you're involved in financial freedom. This is such a kind of, whatever topic, because everyone wants financial freedom, but very few people actually follow through. But you really address something that I've always been fascinated with, which is why we're not using technology more. And I think this is something that you've obviously developed over years by using, AI bots and creating technology that helps us make less emotional and better decisions when it comes to our trading opportunities and things like that. But yeah, just give us a little bit of background, firstly, of who you are and how you got into this, and then we can chat a bit more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, firstly, Brian, thanks for having me. Fantastic. And look, basically, my dad is he come from a property developer background, right? So I grew up listening all about property and investment and things like that. And I'm blessed for having that, because it kind of gave me a good understanding of the financial education background, which was great. But my dad was really stuck in his ways, which was fantastic, and it's worked for him really well. But as I kind of went through and went through the stages and had some property and did some different things, I was as a younger person at the time, you always want to look at things that maybe might have a bit more oomph in them and a bit more gains and things like that. And I came across the crypto space. I actually came across the Bitcoin space in 2016, so nearly 8 years ago now. Hence the little Bitcoin sign here. It completely changed my opinion on so many things. Not just around sovereignty and money and things like that, but also the financial freedom side and the centralized to decentralized side and things like that. But from that point, I've always been a bit of a computer nerd and a bit of a geek, and going through the different areas with software and things like that. And we're able to put together and find out that there's some I guess you could say chinks in the armor and little parts that you can really exploit, especially with new technologies like crypto. And we found that as you were saying, because I did some trading myself. I've been a manual trader for nearly 10 years now. I did the stock market, things like that, and moved into crypto. But then I realized this is really supercharged this, right? So where the stock market might move a little bit, crypto moves a lot, right? So I'm thinking, if there was a way that we could remove that emotion from it, because that's one of the key things, right? We always get stuck in, a knee-jerk reaction potentially when it comes to trading and things like that. If there is a way that we can remove that emotion and use this incredible technology that we have in AI and automation, that could really help us. Because if the stock market kind of makes you jittery, then if you start trading crypto, you can times that by 10 or 20, right? Because it's so volatile. So to be able to remove that emotional side of it and have it more of a mechanical rules-based process, I found has been extremely rewarding. And that's what I'm here to share and show with everyone, how we can combine the power of something really powerful like crypto and combine it with amazing wealth creation opportunities when we combine that with the best technologies we have in AI and automation.
Yeah, and I think the key there was that removing emotion. I mean, we've got a lot of friends who teach trading. I've got a lot of friends who are literally some of the top in the world in that space, but every single one of them will tell you that emotion is what gets in the way. And I mean, I don't get too involved, because I'm just my head like runs at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and it makes it challenging. And that's why I think it's amazing that you can utilize technology, particularly with AI, because AI, is like the new version of humans, where it doesn't have emotion. Yes, I know there's other aspects. We're not going to get into that. We've got people talking on the summit about it. But I mean, it doesn't have emotion. So it makes like incredibly rational decisions where we would get all stuck in our head and start to overthink things and start to worry about stuff. But I mean, let's just talk a little bit about crypto, because this, I think, it's such a kind of stigma on one hand, and because everyone's trying to get rich quick. And I know that's not actually what you do. You've developed a system that slowly, over time just keeps, giving back. If you compound that, it can have a huge impact in your life. But I mean, because crypto, we know the technology is brilliant. I mean, it's the new context, blockchain, all this kind of stuff is going to transform the world. It's going to be used in so many different elements as a whole. We also know the principle of, money that's not controlled by government or certain systems is challenging, but it also has its challenges. And you brought it up. It's very volatile. It's difficult to predict because it's driven by emotion, ironically. It's not like an asset. It's not like when you trade in a company on the stock market, the performance of their company, and it's also driven by emotion, but still the performance of the company can tell you a lot. Whereas with crypto, you just never know. If people start selling, it starts to go down. If people start buying, it starts to go up. It's there, though. I mean, Todd, I think we have to acknowledge that for anyone that's skeptical out there. It is there. It still has a lot of value. But, how do you sort of address that kind of concern around it? But obviously, I think this is where your technology really makes it a very different game, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you mentioned something great there, which is like, there's a lot more volatility in crypto. And the reasons behind that we've found is that, quite simply, crypto is a small drop in the ocean compared to world financial markets, right? The entire crypto market cap, as we speak, right now is only $1.6 trillion, right? Whereas like money markets, stock markets, we're talking tens and tens of trillions of dollars. So it's really just a drop in the ocean in the financial world, which is great. We can take advantage of it because of the high volatility and things like that. But on the other hand, as we said, if you don't have your emotions in check, you can really be wiped out. And that's where we hear a lot of these so-called crypto horror stories, right? From people who quite simply don't have their emotions in check. And the other kind of horror stories we hear about crypto are quite often things like, people may have heard of the FTX exchange collapse and other things like BlockFi and things like that. All of these so-called crypto companies weren't that. They're essentially centralized businesses, right? They're run by humans. They were corrupt in the end, and greed took over, and that's how it failed. And I mean, we've seen that time and time again with the global financial crisis. The old sayings, too big to fail and things like that. So for all of the bad press that crypto gets, a lot of it really is unfounded, and a lot of it is ultimately the bad press that it gets is really from humans doing the wrong thing, which is what has happened countless times over the years. Whereas when we break it down, what crypto really is, it's a decentralized. Now, if we talk about Bitcoin in particular, it's a decentralized new form of payment methods or money, if you want to put it that way. It has a finite amount. Over time, it becomes less and less. There's less and less of them created. There's a fixed amount supply, which, as we know, the US dollar is a little bit different from that, right? It's a money printing machine. Basically, to touch on the point that you made as well, whereas how can we harness that volatility, is that what we've been able to do is be able to make returns in what's called a stable coin. So stable coin, they're virtually like a virtual US dollar, right? So all the returns and all the money we make is in essentially US dollars or a virtual US dollar. And once you make those returns, you can simply transfer all those returns back into crypto, back into property, into the stock market, back into your bank account. You can put it wherever you want. So that's the big difference. So all we're doing is we've taken all the risk out of it, or a massive chunk of the risk out of it, because we're trading essentially with a virtual US dollar, and we're trading against the volatile currencies. So people often say, but Troy, I don't really want to, get involved or own a volatile currency like Bitcoin or Ethereum. To use the AI and automation that we share and show people, and the proven method we've shared and showed people, you're simply holding a virtual US dollar. We're trading against those volatile cryptos. So that's the difference. But I mean, if people only hear bad press, which quite often happens, then they're going to make a judgment,
Yeah, and I mean, look, everything's got two sides to it, and I think that's the kind of thing that we see. I mean, like I said, I work a lot with, Darren Winters is on here talking about trading. He's one of the best in the world at it, and I mean, Darren and I always joke about the emotions thing. He's so kind of chilled. I think it took him 25 years to develop this like really calm persona, which helps him. But a lot of people, just don't understand that whatever you get in, when it comes to money, and whatever you get in when it comes to investment, there's risk associated and there's emotion associated. And, one of the things, and I'm sure you've learned this, Troy, and you probably, talk about this or teach this in some of the context, or, is that we also manifest in beings. So, interestingly enough, people going to invest in of any sort or business or want to make more money or whatever the case might be, but they aren't conditioned in that space. They have all these like self-limiting beliefs as to what they can manifest and earn. And that plays a big role. So people, they self-defeat and they go like, oh, this is not going to work, and then they do it and then it won't work, because it's so crazy how much, our mindset actually influences our reality externally. So, this is also why I think what you've developed, and guys, you definitely want to attend the summit and listen to, Troy talk more about this, because he's obviously going to share exactly how this works and how you could even utilize it and get involved. But I think the key thing is, why we love doing what we do at Real Success is so much, and we as Real Success spend a lot of time helping people on why they don't follow through or why they try things but fail. Because you can probably testify through your own life, you have to evolve yourself and you have to shift your own input. So if you're going to enter any market, if you're going to get involved in anything to do with money, with all the negative conditioning you have around money, you could self-defeat it. And that's where a lot of the negativity in the stories come from. It's actually just driven by this mass, conditioning of we're not worthy and money is actually evil and it's wrong to make money. Bitcoin is one of those things that invested. We're like, I'm not even doing anything. I'm not making money. And there's this whole psychology that's like, this is not right. You can't be sitting on your backside making money. Has this been apparent in your own life? And have you noticed this a lot with people that you work with?
Oh, 100%. Look, I forget what the statistic is, but it's around the 80% mark of people that win lotto in the world, right? Millions of dollars, they end up losing it all within the space of 3 to 5 years after it, right? And that's quite simply because when we have life-changing experiences and massive things that happen, and money has so much emotion attached to that, we make rash decisions. And if we don't have our financial education and we don't have our mindset and our headspace in the right place, you quite simply are not going to retain what you potentially can make and what you can make in this space. If you treat this space, the Bitcoin and crypto market, and what we share and show with people how to harness the power of it, if you treat this space like a proper financial instrument and not as a gamble, right? Because a lot of people see this as gambling in a way. If you want to gamble, I always say to people, go to the casino, go to the horse races. This isn't gambling. If you can harness this, which is what we've been able to do, and this is what we share and show with everyone, you can, this space will pay you like a king or a queen if you harness the power of it. And that's the big thing. And we're very big on that. And it's great you mentioned that, Brian, because we're very big on headspace, having your mindset, your emotions correct and in check, because this whole thing is, and I'm sure the other traders will say the same thing, this whole thing is 80% psychology, 20% technical knowledge. You can teach I believe that anyone can trade. You can teach people how to trade, right? The technical knowledge part is absolutely possible. It's the 80% psychology, that's the part that it takes a long time for people to get around their heads around. And I've been manual trading for just on 10 years now, and it's still something, a constant thing you're working on all the time is that mindset, that headspace, and making sure it's right. And it doesn't surprise me at all that all the other traders say the same thing, because it takes a long time to do. And yeah, if you don't have that right, as you said, when people have a bad experience, they then connect that to the stigma of what it is. And I really believe that crypto has been tainted with a bad brush per se. But at the end of the day, right, comes down to cold hard facts, right? Crypto was the first asset to reach $1 trillion market cap. Did it in 12 years. Now, I think it was Google took 21 years or something. Amazon took 24 years to get to a $1 trillion market cap. We're talking about one of, if not the fastest growing asset in human history. So there is something there. And if you can harness the power of that, that's where the magic is.
And this is why I think we love you, Troy, and why we want you to work with the audience. We often, the industry, our whole industry of personal business development is full of kind of get rich quick and, a lot of kind of, challenges in terms of context. And I think one of the things we like to do, particularly when we talk about money and investing, is firstly, always bring the psychology into play. So you'll see a lot of our speakers like Peter Sage and that they actually work specifically on your guys' behalf as well, to say, listen, we need to help you sort this out in order for you to get the result. If you're looking to make more money, or if you're looking to improve your health, because it's not just about money, it's about any aspect that we want to change or any standard we want to lift in our lives. So, that's a continuous journey. But I think the key thing is that it's still, there's a lot of questions around this, and people want to explore it, but they want to explore it in a place that they feel safe. And, at Real Success, we pride ourselves in the people we put in our space, because we make sure that all our teachers have incredible reputation. We monitor and work with everyone, that gets involved with our teachers to make sure that they deliver effectively. And that's something that's important to us. And I love that you come into the space, because I've always been nervous personally to, bring too many people in the space in. But I think the angle you're bringing it in from, and definitely the attitude you're coming in with, is going to allow us to really sort of help and educate people continuously in the use of this as one of your, strategies towards creating wealth as a whole. So I really look forward to, firstly, Yaron, on the summit, getting to work with you more. But also, I think just sharing that common goal of educating people over time, both from the psychology point of view, and then understanding the power of what you've created in order for people to utilize it effectively. It's not going anywhere, everyone that's listening. It's not like crypto is going to disappear. It was never going to disappear. It, had its volatile ups and downs, and some people were a bit crazy because they go and mortgage their houses and stuff and then invest everything. And that's not the kind of wise strategy for any kind of, long-term investment. But it is there, and it's got a major role to play in the world. We're still to see that, and it's slowly breaking through all the sort of barriers. But I think the key thing is Troy can really help you understand how to utilize it, at least understand it a lot better, but also give you tools to make sure that you don't play this overly emotional, volatile game in that space. So, Troy, I'm really, really excited to have you talking at the summit, and like I said, actually just sharing your knowledge and input on a continuous basis with our communities.
Oh, look, absolutely, and I want to thank yourself, Brian, for inviting me on, because I really feel that people can use a part of crypto and a part of, if they can harness it and enter into it in a very safe way, which is what we promote and we show how you can do that, then you can have it a part of your portfolio. Even if it's the smallest part, there's a very good chance it's going to be the best performing part of your portfolio in what we've certainly experienced, and certainly in my time in the last 8 years, it's definitely been the best performing part of the portfolio. So, I mean, as I said, I think there's no wonder that it's been achieving the incredible things it's achieved. And as I said, if you can approach it and do it in a common sense way, you do it in a smart way, you take that same psychology that you use in all the other asset classes that we talk about, then if you apply the same thing, this space will supercharge your earnings. And like I said, this space has the ability to pay you like a king or a queen, because the returns you can get in this space really are supercharged, especially compared to others. So look, I'm really looking forward to sharing that knowledge with everyone, and hopefully they can get involved and experience it as well.
Yeah, we can't wait. So listen, if you're watching, you've probably registered, but I always love this factor because it's a free event. Even when people pay, sometimes they just don't show up. So guys, listen, there's no value. Even what we've shared now, this is interesting and fascinating, but you've got to actually listen to Troy's presentation to get a full understanding. And like I said, combine it with many of our mindset specialists. We've got Dr. John DiMartini that's just been confirmed, and Peter Sage and myself and Eric Thomas, and they're all brilliant at like, hey, let's sort this stuff out so that when we do these other things around money or health or relationships, that we can actually, make the shift. And we want to make 2024 a special year. So we're very excited to have Troy there, but you guys have got to show up. So please, just below this video, where I don't know, you could be watching this video on multiple platforms, but make sure you show up and that you actually get to experience this. Troy, I really look forward to connecting with you more. It's nice to have an Aussie back in the space. I always joke because, for those that don't know, South Africa and Australia, we have quite a rivalry in sport. So we got, and for once we can say we got the World Cup rugby and you guys didn't even show up, but you guys, kicked our butt as always in the cricket. So we both shared World Cups this year. So there's always a rivalry between us.
We don't want to talk about rugby, Brian. Okay, let's not talk about that.
Yeah, but you'll talk about cricket, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we love it, and I'm super excited to have you and some of the other friends and stuff joining us from Australia, because I think it's there's a kindred spirit between South Africans and Australians. But I'm very, very excited to share this with everyone. So guys, make sure you show up. Troy, we look forward to hearing you on the summit.
Thank you very much, Brian. Appreciate it. Look forward to seeing everyone.